Hmm. Hi, welcome to Astro Babble. I'm Donna from Donna B Astrology.
And I'm Lynda from Scullywag Astrology.
Today we're going to be talking about the horoscopes for 2023 for the sign of Libra.
Mhm. Yes, and that's mainly if you're a Libra or Libra ascendant. I like to say Libra, but that's just me and maybe some Australians. But anyway, if you're a Libra sun or moon, you can also listen, but it's more accurate if you follow by your ascendant sign. And if you don't understand why, we've done a video that explains that in a little bit more detail, and I'll link to that.
The first planet we're going to be talking about is Mars. It is one of the malefic planets. It's been in your house it's been in your ninth house for a lot longer than you wanted it to be. It's your house of publishing and law and maybe even higher education. But it's been in your house for about 6, 7 months, and normally it's only in a house for about 6 weeks. So this is where it retrograded, and it will be moving out of your ninth house into your 10th house March 25th. And Mars is known for separation and bleeding, heat, as well as aggression, drive, and impatience. So, doing things without thinking.
Yeah.
So it's been a while since it's been in your ninth house. But it'll move come March 25th.
Yeah, so while Mars has been retrograde, it has been kind of holding you back to do with topics with the ninth house. So maybe if you've had a lawsuit that needs, some sort of attending to, or you've been waiting for it to come to trial or whatever, it's kind of like, oh, when is this ever going to happen? There's this Mars just wants to move forward and it's being held back. It's got to wait and it's got to learn that patience. And yeah, it's just very, very frustrating for Mars. And Mars has been retrograde since the 30th of October. It will station direct on the 12th of January. But if we take into account the shadow period, we may need to wait until the 15th of March until all those issues with Mars being retrograde are kind of cleared up. But yeah, Mars will enter Cancer on the 25th of March and move into your 10th house. So you'll have energy, ambition, and drive in that 10th house of career and public reputation. You may need to watch that you're not more aggressive than you realize. So when you've got Mars in a house, it can make you a bit aggressive and it can make you seem a little bit more eager to have a fight. And this Mars is not very strong. It's in a sign of its fall. So it's kind of not at home in this sign. But, hey, at least it's not in Gemini anymore because it was in Gemini for 7 months. Everybody is sick of having Mars in their house where Gemini is, which was your ninth house, because it's been in Gemini since the 20th of August, 2022, and it doesn't leave it until the 25th of March. So it's had about 7 months in that house, that ninth house of yours, instead of the usual about 6 weeks. And it will move through a lot of other signs during the year, but we're not going to concentrate on that. Just because we've had Mars retrograde, we just wanted to cover that, getting out of that retrograde phase and actually leaving Gemini finally.
Right. Moving from your ninth to your 10th house, which is
Yeah. And
a
yeah,
very visible house.
it is a very visible house. With the malefics, if you can work with them more positively, because even though the malefic planets are said to bring bad things or bad luck in a way, you can look for the more positive way to kind of use them as a way of mitigating it. So with Mars, if you can use that energy, be active or be heroic or courageous or ambitious, use that drive in a positive manner if you can, rather than, getting irritable and cranky and aggressive, or accident prone. That's another thing with Mars too sometimes. So yeah.
Very nice. So the other planet that is the malefic is Saturn, and Saturn is been in Aquarius and its own rulerships for the last 4 or 5 years. When Saturn's in Aquarius, which it is right now, it is in its own rulership. When it moves into Pisces, it's not going to have that same strength that it does being its own rulership. And that's going to happen March 7th. Saturn is is the planet of structure and know and foundation, as well as older people, the restriction and restraint. So that's the energy of Saturn. So it's been holding you back in your fifth house. And that's your house of creativity, your children. And when it moves into your sixth house, it could offer you a little, if you use it for foundation and structure, it could help you in a healthful wise way, because the sixth house is the house that it represents your health. That would be the way to mitigate Saturn, because Saturn is that constriction and the old age and the taking a longer time. And so when it moves into your sixth house, if you can use it positively, which would be, the foundation. So, start a routine of, what you do every morning, and, that would benefit you in your life. That would be the way to do that. That's going to happen March 7th when it goes into your sixth house.
Yeah.
That's where you're going to feel the shift.
Yeah, I was just thinking when Saturn was in the fifth, which it will be up until 7th March, it could be your children that are kind of dealing with limitations and boundaries and that. And actually, that would be really interesting. Maybe there's kind of some kind of like children because it's natural, they challenge boundaries and you're trying to establish that boundary. And yeah, so then that might be how that's been playing out in your fifth house, perhaps. Or fifth house, I had this many years ago. Saturn in the fifth, no romance. Nobody. So yeah, that can be fun sometimes, can't it? but this is it.
Definitely freeing.
The planet of no. And in that instance, it was like, no boyfriend for you. But yeah, in the sixth house, if you can kind of use that to establish good health routines, good daily habits, yeah, that would be a great use of it. Or it's also the house of service to others. So perhaps, somehow kind of working that into that. Yeah. And also pets. So maybe pets are a little bit unruly and need some
Schooling.
training. Yeah. And
Very nice.
just incidentally, Saturn tends to be more problematic if you're born at night. And if you're born during the day, it's Mars that's more likely to be causing you issues. Just generally speaking, doesn't mean that if you're a night chart that Mars is always going to be marvelous for you. It just tends to be that Mars tends to be problematic for people who are born during the day, and Saturn tends to be problematic for people who are born at night. But now we'll go to Pluto, who's problematic for everybody.
Yes, Pluto, the planet that is known for change and for moving the collective consciousness forward, as well as intensity and transformation. Pluto will be moving out of your fourth house and into your fifth house on March 23rd, but it won't stay there. It'll kind of be, it's because it goes through a retrograde and it doesn't move very far. So it just goes like just a couple of steps forward and then a couple of steps back, and then it will eventually move out. But it is trying to move out, and we will see and get a hint of what Pluto's message for us to change out of our lives come March 23rd. So that'll be very, very interesting to get a peek or a glimpse or a hint of what that energy is going to feel like when it goes from Capricorn into Aquarius.
Yeah. As Donna said, that Pluto is not done with Capricorn yet. It will enter an Aquarius in 23rd of March. But from the 11th of June, it will retrograde back into Capricorn and stay there till the 20th of January 2024. Then it will go back into Aquarius. But from the 1st of September 2024 until the 19th of November 2024, it will be back in Capricorn. So if you have planets at the late degrees of Capricorn or even Cancer, Libra, or Aries, and seeing we're dealing with Libra ascendants here, or potentially Libra moons or suns, it may cause you some issues. And if you do have those late degrees, just be aware that, yes, whatever house it's in may be undergoing some sort of transformation, because That's what Pluto wants. It wants to tear down the old and rebuild new and better. A bit like the $6
Right.
billion man. Or was it? It was only $6 million man back then, wasn't it? It wasn't
It
six
was a six
million
million
dollar
dollar.
man. Or was it? I don't know. Was it million?
No, it was a $6 million man.
I think it was million. I'm getting carried away with the billions. I must have Jupiter hitting me somewhere in my chart.
Well, back in the day, that kind of money could buy you that, but now you would
A
probably
lot
need
more.
6 billion.
I could live on it.
Yes, absolutely. And for Pluto, I mean, I have a Libra daughter. She's due to have a baby in April.
Mm,
So that kind of transformation in the fifth house is exactly what she's facing. And I
yeah.
don't even have to wait.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
this is
so
it.
there, I mean, I mean, Pluto, you know what Pluto's trying to change. You know the energy, you settle in with it, you live with it for many, many years. So
Mhm.
you know what's coming down the pike. I
Yeah,
mean,
generally speaking, I
Pluto can
think.
only change so much in a life, so it only
Mm.
gets to hit so many houses. And if Pluto is running through your fifth house, yeah, creativity is about to change or intensify.
Yeah, well, like you were saying with your daughter, she's going to have this first child, and that does vastly change your life. And, it'll be in her fourth house. Oh, no, it will be. It won't be until it's in the fifth house unless the baby comes early. But in the fifth house, yeah. But it might change up things, not just, children, but there's also what you do for fun. There's the socializing, you're not doing the same things, life adjusts and you adjust while you're dealing with
Right?
that new life. So yeah, quite interesting.
Exactly. So it doesn't have to be all bad is
Mm,
my point.
no,
That's
no.
my point. It's just transformational and chances are you already know it's coming.
Mm. Yeah, if Pluto's making aspects to personal planets, you may find it a little bit more intense. And mm, yeah, Pluto aspects can be quite challenging. That's all I'm going to say. So,
Very much so.
mm. So yes, but yeah, the fifth house is considered a good house. So I would hope that this was not too bad. I mean, it sounds pretty good. So,
Right. You were meant to meet the challenge. That's why
mm,
you're here.
mhm. And then Jupiter, lovely Jupiter.
Jupiter, the greater benefic, is one of the two benefic planets, and Jupiter is meant to expand your view. It's meant to make everything bigger. It's meant to expand and make things bigger. So that's what Jupiter does.
It's also enthusiastic and optimistic. It's generous. It's a really nice energy, and it's interested in wisdom, and whereas Mercury tends to be concentrating on like the details. Jupiter is kind of like a big picture thinker type thing.
But Jupiter starts off the year in Aries, and it will be moving into Taurus into your eighth house. So right now it's in your seventh house. So you've got the good energy with your significant other. And then you then eventually move on to having the good things happening with your significant other's money, because the eighth house is the significant other's money, or it could be loans, it could be taxes, but you'll get a benefit through other people's money
Mm,
come May 16th.
yeah,
So
could be an
that's where Jupiter
inheritance.
could be an inheritance as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything in the eighth house with other people's money
Mm,
is
mm,
represented by the eighth house. And Jupiter being in it, the greater benefic, it's meant to make it bigger. So
yeah.
I think this is great.
Just when Jupiter's in that seventh house, sometimes it can expand. So there could be multiple partners for some people, but the seventh house isn't just romantic relationships, it's also business relationships, and it's also our close friends. So you might find that that's expanding, or it's also close one-on-one relationships like client relationships which could be like if you're a hairdresser and you've got clients, or you're a psychiatrist and you've got clients, or you're an astrologer and you've got clients. So it could be possible that while Jupiter's in that seventh house, which is only up until 16th of May, that could be expanding too. And you would have been feeling that probably from the 10th of May. So, which may have
Very
led to
nice.
the increase in the eighth house. Getting that money. So yeah, and
Very nice. Well,
Jupiter does tend
it
to favor people that are born during the day just that little bit more, but it's good luck for everyone, generally speaking.
yeah, I think both of the benefits help all of them,
Yeah.
all of us.
Mhm.
And then Venus is known as the bright one in the sky. People get up early to see her, and with Libra as your rising sign, this is your planet, so she rules a lot of you. And she will be moving into Aquarius January 2nd, and she'll stay there until January 26th. And this will be in your fifth house. So you're going to have the benefit of Venus in your fifth house, the house of creativity. She will then be in your sixth house on January 26th in Pisces, and she's exalted here. And this is a good time. This is a house for of your health as well as pets. You could get a pet. You could increase your health. It would be a good benefit for Venus being in your sixth house. Um, like I said, Venus is exalted here, so she definitely has some say, in what happens. She's got some.
Yeah, she's strong.
What is that? Yeah,
Yeah,
she's
she's
strong.
strong. She's
That's
strong
what I
in
was trying to say.
dignity. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
She's got essential
Yep.
dignity. Yeah.
She'll February 20th, she'll move into Aries, your seventh house, which is a nice house to have Venus in. It's the house of the other. And on the March 16th, she'll move into Taurus, your eighth house, and that's the house of um your significant other's money or loans or wills or anything that has to do with other people's money will you very well could get a benefit from. Or it's a transformation. I mean, eighth house is the house of transformation. So if you have some transformation going on, this might benefit you in a positive way.
And then Venus will be in Gemini from the 11th of April to the 7th of May. So this will be a ninth house. So this is overseas people, overseas travel, it's higher education, it's publishing, it's the law, it's subjects like tarot and astrology, esoteric subjects, it's philosophy and religion, it's other beliefs and other cultures. So you may find it's possible, if you're looking for romance at that time, that it might be with somebody that's very different to you. They may be from another country or a different culture. Yeah, so that could be interesting. Venus will be in Cancer from the 7th of May till the 5th of June, and that will be in your 10th house of career and public reputation. So this should be a good time for you in the career. It's, usually quite easy to get along with, you may be able to charm people at this time. Just things are more harmonious when Venus is around. And possibility, maybe a workplace romance. Venus will be in Leo from the 5th of June to the 8th of October, which is a very long time for Venus to be in a sign. She'll be in Leo then, and she's going to actually retrograde there at the time. Venus will be retrograde from the 22nd of July to the 3rd of September. But if we take into account the shadow period, the retrograde shadow period, we need to kind of be paying attention from the 19th of June to the 7th of October. And when Venus is retrograde, we tend to be reassessing topics to do with Venus, such as our values, our relationships, our affections, and things like art and beauty, that sort of thing. So typically, this is not a really good time for new relationships. Established relationships may also be undergoing some things, because one of the things that we're reassessing is our opinions and how we go about relationships and affections. But typically, new relationships don't seem to do well at all. So if you meet somebody during this time, just be aware that it may not be a long-term thing. Doesn't mean that it can't or won't happen, but usually it tends to have a bad history with this.
There is an exception to the rule, but
Always,
yes.
always.
Yeah, and then October 8th, Venus is going to move into Virgo, your 12th house. And that's going to be a benefit to you by either sequestering yourself off from what you're normally of where you normally interact with, but this is the kind of a going away or an inner spection kind of time. This could also be going away for a benefit, like a rehab or a monastery or some kind of place where you are sequestered off from the rest of what you normally engage with. So yeah, the Venus in Virgo in your 12th house, October 8th till October or November 8th. So that's where that's going to be. And then she'll move into her own sign November 8th. And when Venus moves into Libra, this will be in your first house. And this is a good time to, try out that hairstyle that you wanted to, maybe update your wardrobe a bit. These are all going to be a benefit to you because Venus is in full strength here and your first house, which is the house of yourself. So this is a great time to shine with Venus.
Yeah, I just want to jump in for a minute too. I was just thinking, I described what's happening when Venus is in Leo and in that retrograde, but I forgot to mention what the 11th house is. It's groups, friends, organizations, and people that can assist you. It's also your hopes and dreams. So those are topics that may be being reevaluated regarding Venusian type topics. So values, relationships, affections, beauty, art during that time.
Wonderful.
That was from the 5th of June to the 8th of October. So a very long time. Those topics will be kind of being dealt with.
Being reevaluated with that retrograde Venus there in the 11th house. Yeah, which will be a long time. Then December 4th, Venus will move into Scorpio and she's not happy here. This will be your second house. Hopefully you'll still get a little bit of a bonus in your second house. But she's not in her full strength, so that could be not as productive as you'd like it to be. But she will go into your third house December 29th, and that's where you're going to get a benefit from your community or maybe your brothers and sisters or family. So your cousins, your extended family, that's where you get the benefits through. Also early education and how we communicate. So we might get a benefit if you are a Libra rising through your third house, December 29th, through family.
Yep.
And close relationships. Yeah. Then we have the eclipses. Now there's going to be 4 eclipses this year. The first one's going to happen April 20th, 2023. It's going to happen in Aries, and that's in your 7th house. And the 7th house is you're going to have the changes. It could be bringing people into your 7th house, which is your close relationships. As Lynda, you were saying a couple of episodes ago that the solar eclipses bring people in and out of your life. So in the 7th house where this is happening, you very well might have a new person in your life come April 20th.
Yeah, maybe.
If you're a Libra ascendant.
Yeah, I've heard can eclipse people in or out, and maybe that includes the lunar eclipse as well. And it's so hard to tell because the eclipses travel in pairs. If you got a solar eclipse, there's always going to be a lunar eclipse with it, and vice versa. They're always about 2 weeks apart. So, and you kind of allow a month either side, at least, when events can happen. So it can be kind of, was that the solar eclipse? Was that the lunar eclipse? But yeah, it can eclipse people in or out of your life, which is interesting. Or events,
Right.
like a job, you know.
right, very quickly.
Mm.
Yeah. The lunar eclipse is going to happen May 5th, and that's going to be in 14 degrees Scorpio in your second house. So, um, you know, that's the axis where it's trying to change. It's going from the eighth and second house into your seventh and first house. So that's where that shift is going from. So it's going from your money to your personal relationships.
Yeah, which is interesting because maybe, when the eclipses were happening over the second and eighth, which is, like you said, your personal finances versus, shared finances and resources, maybe if that's kind of, brought things to a place where it's not good, now we got the new starts and, your autonomy versus relationships and that. Or maybe it's, shocking new things happening there, or yeah, because eclipses can be sudden and shocking and change the course of where you were headed towards.
Yeah. Yeah, this lunar eclipse is going to happen in the Scorpio house. So it's finishing up whatever the eclipses were trying to get you to change. It's finishing up. It'll be the last one in Scorpio for a while. So
Mhm. And then we have a solar eclipse on the 14th of October. That will be at 21 degrees Libra in your first house. So this is all about you. Could affect your health and vitality, probably in a positive way, though. The sixth house is the house of illness, whereas the first house tends to be health and vitality. Though, having said that, I've seen aspects where, things happen. So, but yeah, your appearance, how others view you. So, yeah, it's all about you. And then we have the lunar eclipse, the last one in Taurus, for quite a while in the eighth house, which is that other people's money, that shared finances, shared resources. And, lunar eclipses can be quite often felt more internally. Sometimes they're to do with endings. And in a case like this could be like perhaps the finalization of a financial agreement. It could be, a divorce going through or something like that, and that would certainly fit with first and seventh house. Not saying that every Libra ascendant is going through this. It's all very individual, but that's one example where I could see that sort of thing happening. You've gone from mine and shared resources to me and my relationship, so, and sometimes, you think it's going one way and bang, it's something else. So, eighth house, it could be, surprise inheritance, somebody you didn't expect dies suddenly and that's there then, or, could be horrible, could be like, a big tax bill. It could
that wouldn't be
happen.
good.
But
It
yeah,
could happen.
yeah. But yeah, something that's, just kind of shakes things up because eclipses are unusual and different, if they happen, particularly solar eclipses, you've got to be in the right location to view it. But, animals, kind of get all upset. They don't know what's happening. And yeah, it's quite a sight seen through
It is.
glasses. And then with the lunar eclipse, if it's you know if it's nighttime where you are, you should be able to see it. Depends on whether it's a total, or it doesn't look like we got a total eclipse for the lunar eclipses this year. So, and we've got no total solar eclipses. We've got a hybrid one, which might be, I think, when they start as a total and then move into a different one before it gets to total or something. Anyway, so that's the eclipses. So that's your 2023 Libra. If you're not subscribed, we'd really like you to subscribe because we go through every month. We do every 2 weeks, we do a full moon or a new moon horoscope. So if you found this interesting or informative, you might like to consider that. We also look at where the planets are, when they're changing signs and what they're doing to each other, and just kind of give a brief overview of like, hey, Pluto and Venus are doing this, and that could mean this, and yeah, so people find it helpful. We find it helpful. So yeah. Oh, Donna, What are you doing and where can people find you?
I am doing your natal readings, year ahead readings, electional uh, astrology readings, as well as horary readings. You can get a hold of me at donnabastrology.com, and I've got all my contact information on my website there. And I also do crystal healing support sessions. So I help the physical or mental, whatever. Um, I work with people doing crystal healing work. And Lynda, what do you do and where can people get a hold of you?
I do natal readings, I do relationship readings and year ahead readings, and I'm at Scullywag Astrology. So, yeah. So, thank you for listening and good luck, Libra.
Happy New Year, Libra. Thank you.